What's a story you're dying to tell? Story number 1. I spend a lot of time on the road for work, so I have a lot of crazy stories. I'll talk to anyone, so I meet a lot of interesting people. This night is one of my favorites. I was walking down the street in Sag Harbor, New York. I lit my cigarette and this guy asks me for a light. He is dressed down, kinda rough looking. We talk until we finish smoking, and he invites me into an expensive bar for a drink. He buys me a $25 glass of cognac, only about 1/4 inch full, and introduces me to his wife and friend, some famous artist. We have a few drinks and swap stories. He had sailed his boat from Connecticut, and the water was too rough to return. His son and daughter-in-law had to be back home for work the next morning, so he had his helicopter pick him up. We all went to a haunted house, they smoked a bowl, and we returned to the bar. Turns out this guy is a mobster and rich as fuck. We go out for another cigarette, and a bus pulls up with 3 attractive women with baggage. The mobster invites them in for drinks and tries to get me laid. The hottest of the girls was shocked that I didn't know who she was. She claimed to be an actress, so I asked what movie she was in. She says Money Talks. I check IMDb, and she is not listed. I then remember that there is a porn with the same title. She was a porn star. I personally racked up a $1,200 bar tab that night, all of which the mobster insisted in paying for. I cabbed it back to the house I was staying at and called it a night. I never heard back from any of the group. Story number 2. When my best friend and I went backpacking in Europe, we had just left Oktoberfest in Munich and got on the night train to Paris. In the mix of things, we accidentally switched tickets. I found my cabin with 5 quiet Asian travelers, and we all went to sleep pretty much right after the train started to go. After the heavy amount of partying that took place, that sleep was one of the best ones that I've had. I woke up in the morning feeling refreshed and went to look for my friend a few cabins away, but she was gone. After locating her and seeing how much she looked like shit, she proceeded to tell me that her cabin was made up of 5 drunk French men, 5 very drunk French men. They had a good 1 to 2 hours of being rowdy and loud for a while, then things finally started to quiet down in the cabin. In the middle of the night, my friend felt someone smack her head. She thought it was the very burly drunk man sleeping in the bunk right across from hers, and just moved farther back into the bunk towards the wall when someone smacked her head again. She lifts her head up and something falls off. She touches it and it's poo. The 250-pound man was shitting his pants and throwing poo at her in his drunken sleep. She screamed, ran out of the bunk, and found someone that works on the train. The woman laughed at her and directed her to the bathroom, where the sink's water pressure was equivalent to the water pressure of something with low water pressure. She refused to go back to the bunk, had to go find an empty seat for the duration of the train ride. Story number 3. When I was a freshman in high school, I showed up one day and almost everyone was silent. I asked a few friends what was going on, and apparently a girl, senior, died in a car accident. I felt kinda sad to see so many people mourning, but really just didn't let it bother me. The name sounded familiar, but I didn't think anything of it because I already hear so many names. I go to my first period and the announcements come on, and the principal says a few words about the girl. One of her friends in front of me cries. My second period is English, and my teacher, who I hated, has been crying, saying that she really cares about us, etc. She had the girl as a student. I can't really remember third period, but fourth period is piano. I go to my piano class and I see my guidance counselor in the window. Out of 10 students, 6 are seniors. I go in and sit down at my usual seat. My guidance counselor is crying, of course, and saying that she is going through all of the girls' classes to comfort students. That's when I stopped and looked around. No one was absent except for the girl who was supposed to be next to me. The girl who always complained about her job at Panera helped me with songs I was trying to learn, shared music with me, read the papers I wrote. I never even took the time to learn her name. I felt horrible. People were just looking at me for crying out of nowhere. I'm usually pretty emotionless when it comes to these kinds of things, but at that moment I realized what the hell was going on and who had died, and felt genuinely sad to the point of tears. Story number 4. We met in high school, AP Eura. She was 16, I was 15. I liked her a lot. I don't know what I can say that would adequately describe her. I hate people. I loved her. She was beautiful and kind and very smart and high-achieving 3.8 GPA and varsity athlete. I've actually never met anybody with that kind of high school record since. But then again, I go to a mediocre school. I guess everybody thinks their SO is the best person in the world, but she was the best person in the world. When I was with her, I didn't really care about meaning or lack of meaning, that my parents would hate me if they ever knew I was bi, that there were Titans starving to death, just 1,500 miles away from me. I just felt content. I don't know, this might sound faggy or whatever, but mostly, I just felt very safe when I was around her, which was always. She got into a car crash and had a traumatic brain injury. It changed her, not just her memory and her academic ability, but her whole personality. It changed her. She became very quick to anger, thought the whole world was plotting against her, thought I was trying to kill her. She eventually broke it off because of that. It was surreal watching the girl with the same face, the same hair, the same eyes that was so kind before, lash out at everybody, and in such an unintelligent and undignified way. She was so crazy, I didn't know what to do except keep my distance. One night I was in my house, and my dog was barking at the window. He barks at everything, so I figured nothing of it, but then I hear movement, I get scared. I'm in the middle of cutting cheese, so in one of my stupider moments, I grab the knife, open the door, and run outside. It's dark. I forgot how dark it was. Once I clear my porch, I can't see all that much in front of me. Both my dogs follow me. I hear a gunshot. One of my dogs is dead. I freak out. In a flight or fight moment, I flank around the figure who just shot my dog. The figure shoots my second dog, and that's when I'm close enough. I sink the knife into what I hope is his head. I hit his back instead, but it's enough. He falls, except he is not a he, it's a she. It's my high school sweetheart. I just killed the girl I thought I was going to marry. I go back inside and call the police. I keep trying to tell myself that the girl I loved died in the car crash, that I just killed some crazy woman that was after me with a gun, but it doesn't seem to help. Sometimes I think I'm lucky, though. Most high school flings end, and there is no reason to think mine would be any different. She was headed to a better college than me. At least this way, we can always be in love, at least me and the her that I originally met. Maybe I'll follow her out someday.